Monster trucks about to go side by side in competition now. This is elimination competition. One will move on, one will go home in each matchup. The Carolina Crusher Chevy takes on the First Blood Ford. Then the Gravedigger Chevy against the GMC of Taurus. The bottom half of the bracket, the Bigfoot Ford, the Jersey Outlaw Ford, then the Barefoot Chevrolet against the Black Stallion Ford. That's how they match up. And right off the bat, we'll see our fast qualifier, Gary Porter out of Wadesboro, North Carolina, the Carolina Crusher Chevrolet against Rob Fuchs and the First Blood Ford out of Woodstock, Illinois. Give it to the Chevy Cam. A close race, but Gary Porter pulls it out in the Carolina Crusher Chevrolet, knocking off the First Blood Ford and the consistent running Rob Fuchs. On the replay, we look at the isolated camera on Gary Porter's Carolina Crusher. A nice launch off the ramp. Good shape all the way through. An excellent run, and he needed it to knock off First Blood. Carolina Crusher gets the victory. Well, you talk about a main event matchup anywhere in the country. You see U.S. Hot Rod Monster Trucks. You have it right here. And indeed, this matchup has been a final in a lot of places. The Gravedigger against Taurus. Certainly two of the real marquee names in the sport today, and they have to go at it in the first round here at Uniondale. Dennis Anderson's Gravedigger, Kill Devil Hills, North Carolina. Jackie Willman's Taurus, Granite City, Illinois. Dennis Anderson and the Gravedigger advancing into the second round of competition. And in qualifying, I mentioned Taurus did not sound well at all, and you can see indeed Jackie Willman has a truck that's in trouble. On the replay, Gravedigger with a nice shot, getting up the launch ramp in good shape, and a good solid run for the Gravedigger. Two Fords are ready to go at it now. It's the Outlaw in the far lane out of Pensacola, New Jersey. That's Nick Rossi. And closest to you, the original monster truck family, the Bigfoot Gang out of St. Louis, Missouri. This is Jim Kramer in the state-of-the-art Bigfoot number 9. Rossi pulls Outlaw to the staging lane. As soon as he is set, they'll look for a green and get ready to get it on. Bigfoot, by about a truck length, records the victory, and Jim Kramer will move into the second round of competition. Once again, the isolated replay puts you right on Bigfoot, and here he comes into your home. Jim Kramer takes the victory. Boy, got into a little bit of the mud lane in the center, but otherwise in pretty good shape for the Bigfoot Ford. Well, there's another Ford, Black Stallion, Michael Botters, and the Black Stallion Ford will have the dubious honor of taking on the defending champion of the world, Fred Schaefer, and the Barefoot Chevrolet out of Pontoon Beach, Illinois. They pull away the banners that lined them up, and they're ready to go. Black Stallion certainly competitive, but not enough to handle the champ as Freddie Schaefer puts Barefoot into the next round. The replay on the Barefoot Chevrolet will show you basically a picture-perfect run. Right up the ramp in good shape, wheels straight, hitting the cars hard, and on to victory for Fred Schaefer and the Barefoot Chevrolet. So we're down to a final 4 after Carolina Crusher dispatches First Blood. Gravedigger beats Taurus. The bottom half of the bracket saw Bigfoot take out Jersey Outlaw, and Barefoot has eliminated the Black Stallion. We're going to do some tractor pulling, more monster trucks later, here on Super Track. We were talking earlier about the U.S. Hot Rod Association truly presenting America's sports, and here we go, across the continent now. This time on the far west coast, Anaheim, California is the host site for the two-wheel drive super modified truck pulling competition. And you are really going to see a unique array of vehicles, exotic body stylings, and certainly a ton of power in these massive machines. Well, we really start off with one of the more unique ones right here. This is a Chevrolet C-Cab, and it's Jim Brockman, the Kodiak In-Laws and Outlaws. He's going to be our test puller. The test puller is simply the man who hooks the sled first to try and give the U.S. Hot Rod officials and the sled team a feel for if they've got the sled weighted right and if they've got the transfer case geared right. And so that's what we're doing right now as the test pull will send Jim Brockman down the track. Jim Brockman bangs it out. It's a full pull on the test pull. And our understanding is that the U.S. Hot Rod officials think they want to at least change the gearing of that transfer case a little bit, make that weight box ride up a lot faster. So Brockman will have to come back and pull again a little bit later in the competition. A good pull for Jim Brockman, but as the test puller, he will now have to come back and try it again on a different sled. So our first official puller will be the Miller ride. This is Steve Jaske. The Jaske team out of New Berlin, Wisconsin. Bud Jaske, several-time U.S. Hot Rod Association tractor pulling champion. Well, Steve pulls with those Miller colors in the two-wheel drive classification. And again, Steve Jaske will be our first official puller after the test pull of In-Laws and Outlaws has been thrown out because they've changed the sled. Jaske will have a green flag condition on the track, and here he goes. And that'll be our first official distance. Steve Jaske coming up a little bit short of that full pull mark. The distance is going to come in at 213 feet 10 inches. 213.10 for Steve Jaske and the Miller machine. There you see a pretty good looking pull, just not quite enough to bang it out the back door. Next up, a very unique vehicle. This is Dennis Marson's Desperado. He will now hook to the sled and try to beat the 213.10 laid down by Steve Jaske just a moment ago, the Desperado. You see the hands go up in the air. That's to show the U.S. Hot Rod officials when they hook up the sled to the tractor that he is off the throttle, and he knows that he's being hooked up. Now he takes the slack out, and he's ready to pull. Not going to have enough. Did not have a real good sound to that engine as it came up the track. Dennis Marson is going to be well short of the lead distance that Steve Jaske sat down a moment ago. Here on the replay, you see him getting it out, staying right in the middle of the track, but it just wasn't there for the Desperado. Dennis Marson at 194.11. 194 feet, 11 inches for the Desperado. 213.10 is still the distance to beat. And here is one of the true superstars in this side of the sport, the two-wheel drive pulling, the Toyota of Bill Romsberg, known as the Rice Burner. And again, this is the only Toyota currently pulling in this division, and certainly Romsberg may have something on a lot of these other guys because he really is able to keep that Toyota towards the head of the class. The slack is out, and the three-time United States Hot Rod Association two-wheel drive champion is ready to try and take the lead here at Anaheim. Excellent pull. That'll be enough to take the lead. It's not a full pull, but it will be number one, at least for the moment. Alberton, Pennsylvania's Bill Romsberg and the Rice Burner Toyota. Here it is on the replay. The official distance, 222 feet, 3 inches for Bill Romsberg and the Rice Burner out of Pennsylvania. That is now the distance to beat. The Rice Burner sits in the number one spot.